You're watching a Wascom Film Productions documentary.
Annuncio vobis gaudium magnum, habemus papam,
Habemus Papam!
habemus papam,
Habemus Papam!
habemus papam.
A new pope has entered the Vatican, a pope from the Americas, specifically the United States of America, an election that people thought would never turn out the way it did. The good election.
Habemus Papam! Eminentissimum ac reverendissimum Dominum Albinum Sancte Romane Ecclesiae Cardinalem Luciani qui sibi nomen imposuit Ioannis Pauli I.
The journey that made an American pope started on August 26, 1978, when Cardinal Albino became pope. Albino named himself John Paul I after his two predecessors, John the 23rd and Paul VI.
Ieri mattina io sono andato alla Sistina a votare tranquillamente. Mai avrei immaginato quello che stava per succedere.
Pope John Paul I was known as the Smiling Pope, smiling at almost everywhere he went. He was also the first pope under the Second Vatican Council to have an inauguration instead of a coronation. 33 days later, a sister nun found him dead with the lamp still on and a book on his chest with a slight smile on his face. He supposedly died of a heart attack the night prior, assumed by people remembering that the night before he was having chest pains. There are a lot of conspiracies about his death, which I'm not going to explain. His reign was a total of 33 days, the shortest reign to ever happen in the 2,000 years the Catholic Church has been around. On October 4th, 1978, Pope John Paul I's funeral happened. It was an emotional funeral for the people of all walks of life who knew and or heard of John Paul I. October 16, 1978, Cardinal Karol Wojtyła was elected Pope. He took the name Pope John Paul II after Pope John Paul I. Wojtyła, though, in this papal election wasn't the front-runner, which compared to the papal election just 2 months before, it was between him and Albino. Though the 2 days of ballots, the first choices became apparent that it wasn't going to be an Italian Pope.
Annunzio vobis gaudium magnum. Habemus Papam. Eminentissimum ac reverendissimum Dominum Carolum, Sancte Romane Ecclesiae, Cardinalem Wojtyła. Qui sibi nomen imposuit Ioannis Pauli.
Lo hanno chiamato di un paese lontano. Lontano ma sempre così vicino per la comunione nella fede e nella tradizione cristiana.
Wojtyła was suggested by other cardinals for balloting, which ended up that October Roman night that a pope from Poland, a country hit by many governments that tried to topple the Polish people, finally had a world representative, which lasted for 25 years, the third longest papal reign in history.
Like Cardinal Cook, All of us have been moved by the heroic struggle of the Polish people for freedom and by the example and inspiration of Pope John Paul II. As Cardinal Cook said of the Holy Father, is there in our world a more impressive symbol of God's concern for every human being? Is there an advocate for peace more outspoken, a voice for justice more insistent, a champion of human dignity more convinced and convincing? The work of peace and freedom, the work of Pope John Paul II, the work of Terence Cardinal Cook goes on. It's your task and mine. By coming to this film and by supporting the Pope John Paul II Center and the Polish Relief Fund, you are making an extraordinary contribution to this effort. Our goal, in the words of Cardinal Cook, must be to share with people who, in spite of their daily hardships and political oppression, remain ever steadfast to their love of God and their search for freedom.
Mr. President, I am particularly pleased to welcome you today to the Vatican. Although we have already had many contacts, it is the first time that we have met personally. In you, the President of the United States of America, I greet all the people of your great land. I still remember vividly the warm welcome that I was given by millions of your fellow citizens less than 3 years ago. On that occasion, I was once more able to witness firsthand the vitality of your nation. I was able to see again how the moral and spiritual values transmitted by your founding fathers find their dynamic expression in the life of modern America.
With a reign so long, Pope John Paul II saw his home country of Poland freed from the communist ways and witnessed the fall of the Berlin Wall, the reunification of Germany. He also witnessed sad days like September 11, 2001. His pontiff reign almost came to a stop in May of 1981 when a Turkish terrorist shot at the Pope in Vatican Square. The Pope was critically wounded in the abdomen, just shy of his heart. Fast forward to 2 days after Christmas 1983, Pope John Paul II went to the prison that the Turkish terrorist was at and forgave him. They had a conversation for about 20 minutes. What's known in that conversation is unknown, except for the fact that the Pope forgave him. Pope John Paul II died on April 2, 2005, after a 27-year pontificate from pneumonia, which he had trouble with for a couple months starting in February of 2005. His death shocked the world. What was the world going to do without a pope like John Paul II? His funeral mass took place on April 8, 2005. It was the most watched funeral since Princess Diana's in '97. Also, it was the most visited funeral by leaders of the world. All U.S. living presidents except Carter came, multiple royal families came, and other types of world leaders came too. All the news agencies you could think of for 2005 were there too. ABC, NBC, BBC, CBS, Fox, TVP, Polska, and others. A 27-year reign as pontiff changed the world. Little did they know something like that came 20 years later, almost to the date. Thank you for watching The Good Election from Wascom Film Productions. I hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.